All the good ones are taken. There's something wrong with me. There's nobody out there for me. Everybody says at least one of these, and if it was right, there wouldn't be any couples out there. And I'm here to tell you that there's someone out there for you. In this video, I'm going to explain how you can attract the love that you desire so that you won't find yourself in situationships or bad relationships or in any kind of bad treatment. Anyone can benefit from this video, but people with anxious attachment style will find it especially helpful. So let's get into it. The first step is to make a list. Make a list of qualities that you desire in a partner. You can call it manifestation if you want, but it's actually much more than that. Here we're realizing what exactly we want from a relationship. Forget about the Disney movies that you watched. Forget about the fairy tales that you listened to. Don't let your list turn into hot, rich, handsome, but think of everyone that broke your heart. Maybe they were rich, maybe they were good looking, but it was never really enough. Think of what broke your heart. Was it their lack of empathy? Write down empathy. Was it their drug or alcohol abuse that turned into violence? Write down no drugs, no alcohol, maybe moderate use of alcohol. Was it their fragile ego that made them treat you bad or hurt you because they got offended easily? Write down doesn't take himself too seriously. For this list, you don't need to know exactly what you want. What you don't want is a good indicator here. Once you have your list, we move on to step number 2, which is being aware. Now that you know what your partner should be like, you need to be aware of the people that you date. For example, let's say you're on a date and the waiter spills something on his shirt. He yells at the waiter for spilling wine, saying, "Do you know how expensive this is?" If your list had empathy and doesn't take himself too seriously, then you should be able to tell that this guy takes himself very seriously. He can't tell the price of his shirt doesn't justify insulting somebody else for making a mistake while doing their job. He thinks he is so important that people can't make mistakes around him. He could just be upset, but he chose to try to punish the waiter. In these instances, we need to stop making excuses for the person saying, "Oh, but his shirt was very expensive," and see the person for what they really are. When you encounter a behavior that feels off, ask yourself, would my ideal partner who has XYZ qualities behave this way? Which brings us to step number 3, which is acceptance. We anxious people usually think we can either fix our partners or we start blaming ourselves for their shitty behavior. This is where I tell you cannot fix them and it's not your fault. You're watching this video because you're curious, you want to learn about how to attract real love. Just as I couldn't have forced you into watching this far in the video, you can't manipulate or force someone to be better or do better. You must accept them as they are, and you need to decide for yourself if you want them in your life or not. Then the step number 4 comes in, which is 3-month rule. 3 months is long enough for someone to show you their true colors. They can hide behind their looks or riches, but they will show their true character within 3 months at least. So in 3 months, you can tell if you're going to stay in the relationship or move on. They can be hot, tall, rich, whatever, but if you want good connection, empathy, real love, you already deserve so much better. I was dating someone who was funny, handsome, did modeling back in the day, so very fit, had his own business, but I wasn't happy. A lot of people will look at this list and think he sounds like Prince Charming. But in 3 months, I realized that the man had zero emotional intelligence. He wouldn't take care of me when I was sick, so he wouldn't get sick. His parents would go clean his house, and he wouldn't text or call unless we were going to meet. He had the money, he had the physique, he had the fun, but he was never ever going to take care of me. He himself told me that he's a man-child, and I wanted a man. Honestly, I could have waited months or years waiting for him to grow up, not knowing if it's ever gonna happen. But instead, I told him what I want. He said he couldn't provide, and we both moved on. Which brings us to our last step, the mirror technique. Now that you know what you don't want and who you don't want, it is time to reflect on yourself. Take a look at your list and ask yourself, do I check these boxes? If the answer is yes for all, you will probably find your love just by not wasting time with the wrong people. If there are some no's in your list, however, you need to improve those qualities. If you yourself don't have what you're looking for, your ideal partner won't be attracted to you. For example, if you don't want to date someone with a fragile ego, you probably shouldn't be offended as easily as well. Or if you don't want a party boy, you shouldn't be out drinking every weekend yourself. If you want someone humble, you can't be showing off with your belongings. When we find our truth and live by it, our energy changes, our friendship circle starts to shift. The people that we want to attract will be drawn to that energy, and they will be hanging out with our new friends, which is how I met my boyfriend. I became friends with a girl from work who is kind, humble, has a long-term relationship, And she was very much different than my previous friends who would get wasted every weekend, who were in toxic relationships or situationships, or didn't even have a relationship at all. So she was a change for me. I went to her birthday party and met lovely people. One of them turned out to be really lovely. And the funny thing is, if I had met him a year ago, it wouldn't have worked. So do not be afraid of making mistakes in your relationships. That's how you learn. And that's how you grow, and then you find your ideal partner. Remember, nobody's perfect. To wrap up this whole video, I just want to say that I am now much happier with someone who is up to my standards just because I actually made my list, observed the people that I dated, accepted them as they are, didn't waste time with the wrong people, and reflected on myself. I just gave you a list for rational thinking in relationships because we think relationships are supposed to be only emotional. But the truth is they're not. You need to consider a lot of parameters, all of which belongs to you. There's no right answer or the right parameters, but whatever works for you. Just ask yourself, will you be able to lean onto your partner or will they become a burden to you? If they are making you feel bad at the moment, it's only going to get worse with that person. Let me know if you have any questions or thoughts. I always respond to comments, and I hope this video has helped you. I will see you next time.